Good morning, friends. Welcome to Daily Dharma. I'm going to continue to explore patience and perseverance today. And as I mentioned yesterday, in the realm of relationships, I often will talk to students and kind of refer to, Dharma in the relational realm as the high bar. And because it's challenging for many reasons. In our own individual relationships, like with friends, partners, family members, etc. These are complex happenings. Our relational patterns are laid down so very early in our life, even pre-verbal, many of them. And so they just have these deep grooves. And the closer our relationship, the more intimate it is, the more these relational patterns get activated, you might say. And so it's challenging because they're so unconscious. And even when we start to make them conscious, they have, because the grooves are so deep, they have such tremendous momentum, right? And so we need patience and perseverance. We have to keep going, how it is we kind of evolve in our relational life. It takes a lifetime. There's a reason why something more like Aboriginal cultures, they would never think of the young people bringing up the children, like the young people would have the babies, in teens, probably maybe up to early 20s. But they wouldn't even think of them bringing them up. Why? Because relationally, they're just not there. The elders would bring them up because relationally they've had the time to evolve. So we need great patience with ourselves. And I think, as I mentioned the other day, the caring and the compassion that is inherent in patience, right? So patience with ourselves, but the perseverance to keep going, not to give up on ourselves or on the relational realm. And we're not in relationship with inanimate objects. We're in relationship with other people with their relational patterns. And so, wow, it gets very complicated, doesn't it? So that's why it's the high bar. I often say, do not use your closest relationships as the litmus test for, in general, how your Dharma practice is doing, because it's not going to come out so good. That's the last place it's going to show up fully. And so, we have these personal relationships, and how important it is to bring patience and perseverance to those. But then we have our larger relationships where we are in relation to the world, but like through a group where we're part of a larger collective. So for instance, a white person, say me being a white person, I'm not just in relationship with other individual people, I'm in relationship with people as a white person, right? And then what about that? Right? What about the patience and perseverance that's needed for a white person to start to traverse the terrain of privilege, white supremacy, structural racism? Like, that's very challenging. Not just to say, when we talk about challenging things for white people in the realm of racism, it's not even in the same ballpark as challenging for people of color. So just to say that, right? And or I find it certainly challenging, humbling, not clear. The way forward often not clear, hitting walls, and so tremendous patience, and perseverance. Like, again, in terms of a white person, persevering and not taking the easy way out, which is like, well, you know what? I actually don't even need to be in this game because I'll be fine, even if I'm not in the game because of my privilege. So the persevering, yeah, very, these two qualities are really important in this realm with ourselves. And what about with each other? Each other, again, being white people. Very common. There's this phase that white people can go through where they start to learn about privilege and racism, and they start making other white people wrong for kind of not being on board or not being at the place where they are. It's a really very particular stage. It's very humbling to kind of look back or find oneself in the midst of it. So patience with other people, right? Everyone has their own journey. And then other realms of collectives, you know, um, instead of just an individual, as part of a collective of living beings on this planet, or a collective of humans, in terms of the ecology and climate change. It's like, wow, patience with all the headwinds that are pushing against what we need to do uh, to help the world, to help this living planet, and keep it surviving and hopefully uh, thriving again, right? Patience with working against the forces of greed, hatred, and delusion that don't want to do what's needed to be done. And persevering. It's like, feels so easy to just give up. It's like, what am I doing? I turned down my heat. What the heck is that going to do for anything? It's like, oh, we just keep going. Everyone doing the little part, but to keep going with it. Or just other social activisms that people might be involved with, or that you might be involved with. Just addressing any of the myriad inequalities in our society or in the world at large, right? If you're involved in that, how important patience and perseverance is in that. So bringing these qualities into this relational realm, our own personal relationships, but also these larger systemic or systems relationships that we have with the world. Hugely important. So let's go ahead and do a practice, right? This mindfulness, ability to be present, ability not just to be present, but to also know what's happening, right? This is what's going to really help to cultivate patience and perseverance. So let's go ahead and settle into the posture you're going to meditate in. And I always have this sense of kind of, I've just been speaking to you in intellect, right? Words, ideas, like trying to make sense, choosing words. It's very intellect. And so the sense of dropping down, letting go of this intellectual interface with my world, our world, and dropping into somatic interface. It does really feel like dropping or sinking downwards into the body, continuing downwards, right, all the way down to that connection, that touch point between the body and the earth. Feeling the solidity of the earth below and the sense of letting go into that support of that solidity. Bringing up the intention to stay connected to the body, and at some point the breath, same thing, breath, body, as an anchor, as this tether to the present moment. Being patient with the body, even as we intend for it to soften and relax, not rushing or demanding of that process. Letting the body soften and also not just kind of sink downwards, but the sense of widening or opening. If that feels right and safe. Sometimes one might go to kind of the sense of even energetically opening the front of the body, and something says, oh, no, 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 not, don't want to go there. And if that's the case, then don't push. Feeling these initial somatic experiences, especially at these contact points with the earth of, say, heaviness, pressure, maybe a sense of hardness or softness. Basically manifestations of the earth element, which also includes rough and smooth. And perhaps widening the attention to include the parts of the body that aren't in contact with anything. One instruction that kind of guides the attention in this way would be to feel the whole body all at once. Staying with the body and the somatic relationship to it. These initial impressions of, say, contact, heaviness, pressure, kind of gross sensations can be joined with more subtle sensations like vibrating or tingling, pulsing. And as we open our attention to include more of the body than just the touch points, then it's very natural to start to become aware of patterns of sensations coming and going in the body. And these, of course, are associated with the body breathing in and out. Feeling the sensations of breath not as separate from the rest of the body, but as part of it, part of a larger whole. And so that when we're feeling the breath, there's a sense of feeling the breath body, like a whole unit. And sometimes the particular sensations associated with the breath can come more to the fore, sometimes not. Sometimes it's just a larger field of sensations being felt that includes the breath. No right or wrong, just kind of noticing where the mind is inclined in any given sitting period or even part of it. That can change. And just taking the time to settle as we've done these months, focusing more on the shamatha practice of calming and settling. becoming experientially familiar with this relationship between feeling the body and having the body be relaxed. They both support the other. And we check in frequently to see, are we connected to the body somatically? Are we feeling it, the breath body? And is the breath body as soft and relaxed as it can be? Paying attention to these two things will allow calm and settledness in the body and in the mind to very naturally and organically deepen. Thank you, everyone, for your attention to the present moment. So, as we turn our attention to this realm of relationships, so much tenderness is needed, along with the perseverance. There's this great story about Ram Dass one time. Um, he had a chance to talk with someone who channeled Pat Rodgest. I don't know if anyone knows her, who channels Emmanuel. Or, I don't know if she's still alive. But anyways, and it was at a time when he was doing a lot of LSD and really trying to, expand and really get away from the limitations of this place. And so he asked Emmanuel through Pat Rodgest, like, what happened? How did I find myself here? Because he could see kind of like what's possible. And Emmanuel said to Ram Dass, Ram Dass, you're in school. Why don't you try taking the curriculum? Hmm. There's 7 billion of us for a reason. Maybe what we have to learn is about relationship, right? And it's a challenging realm, individually, collectively, and potentially what a gift we have to bring our Dharma practice to it, right? Because very, very helpful in this arena. And in terms of what we're, the lens we're using this week, bringing patience and perseverance to the relational realm. Okay, friends, that's it for today. next week, there's going to be different teachers and going onward, joining me for the daily Dharma. So I hope you enjoy that. Each week will be a little bit different. So please tune in for that. And I'll see you at some point later next week. Okay, I wish you well in your relational realm. Remember, kindness towards yourself first and others, as we all kind of muck our way through this realm. All right, take good care. Bye-bye.